am so good, Kia. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. I actually didn't realize as to how long my day was until like you actually and then it's just like, no, but it's been a long day. But I'm very glad that you're here. Because we are a group of creative individuals who really don't know their rights at the end of the day. Yeah.
Yes.
So for starters, before we get into knowing our rights, protecting ourselves and our property, intellectual property, Advocate Busi Ndubazana, why did you decide to become an advocate?
Thank you for having me, and I'd like to also greet the Trans Africa Radio listeners. It was such an interesting journey. I mean, and it's a long story, but to cut it short, I really did not know what I wanted to be, you know. So I was like, okay, what could I study that will allow me to do anything? Maybe if one day I figure it out, then I'll be able to do it. And what came through for me was law, because I felt that law is very diverse. You know, you can actually be in parliament or be in an office or be in the streets. You can be anywhere. So that's how I became a lawyer.
How many years has it been now since you've been from?
It's been a while. It's been a while, but it's been a very interesting ride, right?
Yeah.
And what happened after that, or during my practice, I realized that the biggest problem is that people do not know. Lack of information. They do not know. The law is something that is very far from them. They are afraid to interact with it. They do not know where to go. They do not know how to protect themselves from the onset. They only interact with law when they are in trouble. Only when they find themselves in trouble do they like, okay, now what? I have to face this. Whereas so much could be avoided if just people knew beforehand and they handle things differently. And
another thing is that when you think law, when you think lawyer, when you think advocate, it's like, oh my gosh, it's going to be really expensive. Like how much is this going to take out of me? Because half of the time, most people don't have lawyers because they think that it's really, really expensive.
Honestly, it is, right?
Yeah.
It would be expensive for just an average South African. But as a lawyer, I know that it's expensive because also the whole process is expensive, It takes up so much time for me to represent you, and resources are needed, right? But if you take care of your business before you have to now fix things, when you enter the right contracts, when you know what you want out of a contract, let's say, do you understand? Prevention. The English says prevention is better than cure, right?
Yes.
So prevention is always better. So when you know from the onset, then at least you try and avoid, having to actually get a lawyer to help you going forward, So if you were to say, Busi, come drop a contract for me, it'll be cheaper than Busi, come and defend me in court.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be much more expensive.
Right.
So let's just do things right the first time, and that's why I'm here. Like I want to talk about it. I want to teach as much as possible about the law, and then it will help people, And we are fortunate in this country, I think, because the government has got so many departments that actually help people for free. Do you understand? But the problem is that people do not know where to go for a various array of matters. So when we talk about them beforehand and we educate people, it helps.
Definitely
so people can know that they do not have to feel helpless. They can go somewhere and try and get assistance.
Definitely so. So here's another question, right? You know how you see a form and it says T's and C's apply? Yes. How important is it to read those T's and C's?
Guys,
because you know how we just pass by and click.
Especially as creatives, right?
Right.
I actually want to talk about this case. And I just remembered I need to contact this lady. Anyway.
This is juicy.
No, I'm not going to go into the details, but I just want to say that you will be submitting your intellectual property, right? and you won't be reading the T's and C's. And right then, when you're clicking that thing, because most of them, you have to click, on that small a box to say you've read them. And remember, you are saying you're okay with them. All right? And then you click that thing without reading them, and you've just given away all your rights. And I promise you, it happened like that. Like the T's and C's were saying, you submit this to us. We can do with it whatever we want. And you cannot come back and claim that something is yours, because number one, you do not know what we have been working with. So you might think that we are working on your idea, whereas we've had it. We were already working on something similar, So it's important, guys, please, read, especially when you're giving away something that's important to you. Like, your intellectual property is important. I mean, you've written this beautiful story, and then you just give it away like that, tomorrow you see it somewhere, somebody singing the song as you've been hearing, you see a production has produced your script and all of that, and you have nothing to show. Do you understand? It's a big problem. I mean, if you have ticked on that box without reading it, and then now we have to read it, and only then start saying, okay, why did you tick? Okay, do these terms and conditions actually make sense? Do you understand? Now you are fighting, and it's taking time. Now that's where the costs of having a legal team come into play, and it's expensive now to have an advocate to actually sit there. And remember, an advocate works with an attorney, so meaning you have a team now. It's expensive, and they have to go and fight the terms and conditions that you signed, and you cannot claim ignorance. Do you understand?
You really can't.
You're an author. You write, meaning you can read.
Yeah.
So you cannot say, I didn't know, I just clicked on that thing. You just did not care at that time. You wanted something else more, but you had to go through a certain channel, and you did not do what you were supposed to do.
So it's a matter of this saying I read it somewhere that says, we are all entitled to an opinion, but we're not entitled to an uninformed, ignorant opinion. Basically, the decision that you make, and when you just click the T's and C's, you weren't being, you can't really say you're being ignorant about it.
And there's also a say that says, ignorance of the law is not an excuse.
It's not.
So
16 minutes after the hour of 3 p.m. CAT. When we come back, Advocate Busi is going to be answering these questions that we really need to understand. If you do have any questions for her, send them through to +277 79254 4329, or call us on +27 11 447 7176. Let's travel to Senegal right now. His name is Akon.